In wrestling, your body is your billboard, and some WWE stars took that message personally. These are the jaw-dropping transformations that had fans asking, wait, is that even the same guy? Whether it was after injury, being released, or just going off the grid, these wrestlers came back looking like final bosses. Bigger, leaner, stronger. Let's break down the most shredded returns in WWE history, and the insane work it took to get there. Let's start off strong with Jinder Mahal. During his first WWE run, he wasn't exactly a standout physically, but after getting released in 2014, Jinder went full beast mode. When he returned in 2016, he looked in better shape, sure, but nobody expected what came next. Over the next few months, he transformed right in front of our eyes. Every week, he looked sharper, more cut, more defined, until one day, he walked out with veins popping out of his arms and a physique straight out of a superhero movie.
I mean, you're shredded to the bone. I know you're working really hard.
There's nobody in the WWE that's out-training me. There's nobody in the WWE that's out-dieting me.
And WWE immediately took notice. They strapped a rocket to his back. By 2017, Jinder was WWE champion, defeating Randy Orton clean. Say what you want about his run, but that transformation, it forced people to pay attention.
We have it! You're kidding me! You're kidding me! You've got to be kidding me! You've got to be kidding me!
Edge is one of the best comeback stories of all time. Back in 2011, he had to retire. Neck injuries, surgeries, and no chance of return. Then 2020 hits, Royal Rumble.
You think you know me?
No way!
And out walks a 46-year-old Edge, looking like he just wrapped filming for a Marvel movie. Shredded, focused, not just emotionally ready, physically peaking. He didn't return for nostalgia. He came back to fight.
After 9 years off, I'll be ready. You know, I don't want to come back to bed. You know, I want to come back and try and add to the product, not take away from it.
I got in the best shape of my life at 46 years old so I could step back in here and end my career on my terms.
Now for one of the most jaw-dropping transformations in wrestling history, The Rock. When he left WWE in the early 2000s, he was in great shape, lean, athletic, and charismatic as hell. But Hollywood required something different. He leaned out for roles, took on acting full-time, but then flipped the switch. By the time he returned in 2011 to confront John Cena, Rock didn't just look good, he looked unreal. Massive biceps, boulder chest, traps climbing up to his ears. He looked like he'd traded the wrestling ring for a planet-sized gym. Even before he spoke, the crowd exploded, not just because it was The Rock, but because he walked in like a Marvel superhero. That transformation didn't just turn heads, it re-cemented him as a global icon who could take over any arena, anywhere, at any time.
I realized that my size would work in my benefit once I decided to embrace who I was.
Team, bring it all day, all night long with the millions of The Rock's fans.
Big Show is one of the most underrated transformations ever. He started in WCW as lean and agile, but intentionally gained weight to look more monstrous.
You're hiding your food. What, you think I'm gonna eat your food?
No, not at all.
No, I'm not gonna eat your food.
That's real nice. Real nice.
Give him
Big
that
Show.
kind of sauce.
By 2006, he hit his heaviest point, and in the 2010s, things kept trending upward. He was massive, but not in a good way. And then came that moment. John Cena made a sarcastic jab during a conversation. When Show asked, who wants to see a giant with abs? Big Show heard that, and it lit a fire. He took it personal. Show got serious, started training like an animal, and dropped a ridiculous amount of weight. When he came back in the best shape of his life, fans couldn't believe it. The abs, real. The transformation, insane. From immovable giant to shredded big man, respect.
I'm trying to get a six-pack to shove it right up John Cena's friggin' nose. That's where we started. I'm a better talent now, a better athlete, and a better performer than I've ever been.
Now for a throwback, Triple H in 2002. He tore his quad in 2001 and vanished from TV. 8 months later, he returned at Madison Square Garden and looked like a Greek god. Huge arms, new size, pure intensity. That pop when his music hit? Goosebumps. The transformation was so wild, the crowd reaction alone nearly tore the roof off. From injury to juggernaut. Classic Triple H move. And speaking of surprise returns, let's talk about Roman Reigns at SummerSlam 2020. He had been gone for months, sitting out due to health concerns during the pandemic. Fans expected a return eventually, but not like this. He came back leaner, sharper, and more dangerous than ever. With brand new teeth, a sculpted physique, and a whole new vibe. Gone was the tactical vest. Gone was the soft-spoken babyface. In his place stood the tribal chief, with ripped arms, wide shoulders, and that ice-cold stare that told the locker room, "I run this now." Roman didn't just return, he relaunched. He took his place at the top and never looked back. This wasn't just a transformation, it was an empire being born.
He looked bigger, he had a new shirt, and he went in there and he wrecked everyone and he left.
Everything that I do in the weight room will translate to the ring. My explosion, my power, my strength, my conditioning. It doesn't matter how long the match is. I get stronger and stronger as it goes. The second win comes like that.
Now let's talk Drew McIntyre, because this might be the ultimate wrestling glow-up. When Drew debuted, he was the chosen one. But he didn't exactly look like a world champion. After getting released in 2014, Drew vanished, but he didn't quit. He hit the indies, reinvented his style, and put his body through serious work. When he returned in NXT, people were stunned. This wasn't the old Drew, this was a heavyweight beast. Thicker beard, massive chest, and that aura that said, "Try me." But he didn't stop there. By the time 2020 rolled around, Drew McIntyre was in the best shape of his entire life. And leading up to WrestleMania 36, he bulked up even more, packing on mass, sharpening the edges, and looking like a gladiator built to destroy. He walked into the biggest match of his life against Brock Lesnar and didn't flinch. This wasn't the same Brock who tossed Cena around like a doll. Drew dropped him with 4 claymores like it was personal. No fans, no noise, just domination. And when Drew held that WWE title above his head in an empty stadium, it wasn't just a win, it was the final form of a decade-long transformation.
Anything every day is day one. Every week I want to look my best, train my best, to perform my best, and this is working for me, so I'm not changing a damn thing.
Now here's a sneaky one. Gunther. Back in NXT UK, he was a dominant force, but let's be honest, the dude had some extra mass. Fast forward to 2022, and Gunther shows up on SmackDown shredded like never before. He dropped over 60 pounds, kept the power, and came back looking like a legit destroyer. No more fluff, just muscle, discipline, and dominance. He's now one of the longest reigning Intercontinental Champions ever, and it all started with that physical shift. Lean Gunther is a problem.
Once I moved to the States, I knew the purpose for moving there is to be in the main roster at some point. So I was like, I gotta bring an updated version of myself.
Oh, what a chop! Well, maybe not. Oh my goodness!
Now let's talk about someone fans legit thought was done. Randy Orton. Orton had been out of action for nearly a year and a half, sidelined with serious back injuries that required fusion surgery. People weren't just speculating a return, they were assuming retirement. Even WWE wasn't name-dropping him anymore. Fans feared the worst, that the Viper's last match had already happened. Then boom, Survivor Series 2023. Orton's music hits, and he walks out looking like a bodybuilder with a vengeance. His traps had traps. The crowd popped just seeing his back. Randy looked like he'd added 20 pounds of pure intensity, not just in shape, dialed in. Fans expected a legend to return, but what they got was a monster. Randy Orton proved he wasn't just back. He was back in the best shape of his entire career, stronger, smarter, and maybe even more dangerous than before. And finally, Eddie Guerrero. In WCW, Eddie wasn't bulky, he was a technician, but after a torn pec and his personal struggles, Eddie came back in 2002 massive. He looked stronger, more jacked, and more charismatic than ever. By 2004, he had climbed to the top, winning the WWE Championship in one of the most emotional moments ever. Sadly, Eddie's heart couldn't keep up with the toll, and we lost him far too soon in 2005. But that return, that transformation, legendary and unforgettable. These weren't just returns, these were rebirths. Each transformation wasn't just about muscle, it was about mindset, grind, and proving something to the world. Whose transformation shocked you the most? Drop it in the comments, smash that like, and I'll see you next time.